This is a Sony TC-K590 cassette deck. Got this one second hand, and this is the one shown in my other video with the motor noise query with it. And as we've established, this is quite normal for this type of cassette deck. With these ones, when you turn the power on, the capstan motor starts running straight away, and I suspect that this one and the other one that I have, which I'll show you in a minute, have been left on for some time, and therefore their motors are a little noisy. But I'll run through the features of this one first. You have the power on button over here, and as we turn it on, the display lights up. The capstan motor started to spin now, and you can see it has a light at the rear of the cassette panel there, which is very handy for seeing where you are on the tape. The counter, incidentally, on this and on the TC-K590 are real-time counters, which again is another really handy feature, so you know how long you've got left for your recording. Has the normal timer function of coming on and recording or playing straight away. There's an eject button there, which is motorized. Counter reset, counter memory function. The standard controls: the stop, play, pause, record, mute, record button, fast forward and rewind. It's a 3-head machine, so this thing has a button for monitoring your recording straight away using this button. You monitor either the source or the tape. Display mode, you can switch that off if you don't want any flashing lights on while you're listening to your music. Calibration, I'll talk about in a second. We have these controls here. This one's for adjusting the bias for the cassette you're going to record on. This is to adjust the recording level sensitivity, the record balance, left to right there, the record volume here. It has Dolby B and C, which you select using this switch here. It has an MPX filter for FM broadcasts, and I've found that also helps if you're recording from the internet as well. Headphone lever and headphone socket. Nice cassette deck, all in all. So, we open this, put in our cassette. Excuse me. We push record, it goes straight into record pause. Just reset that counter, and then we'll put it into calibration mode. There we are. Make sure both of these are centered, and start the tape. Now the tape's running, so the display is now indicating. The top row is showing us the bias. The bottom row is the record level sensitivity. And what we must do first, as with the 611S, is to adjust the bias and make it so that it reads the same as the record level sensitivity. So if we adjust this, it's increasing, and they're now both the same. There we are. And the next thing we need to do is to turn the record level sensitivity adjustment so that they both register where those little red marks are. And that's it. So we've now set up our deck for that exact tape, and we're ready to start our recording. So you'd rewind and then do your recording on there. Another feature with these decks that took me a while to work out how to do is around the cleaning of the cassette head and the capstan and pinch wheel. Obviously you'd want to clean that while it's moving. So how do you do it? Well, if we take that door off there, close the door, switch the power off. There's a trick to this, and it took me a while to discover it, but I'll show you it now. So the machine's switched off, and we'll just see if we can prop the camera up there. Maybe not. So with the machine switched off, what we need to do is to turn it on while pushing the open close button. So we'll try and do that now. Press the open close button and switch it on. The door opens, and what's happened inside now, whoops, is that the capstan spinning with the pinch wheel up against it down there, but the take-up reels aren't turning, so you can do all the cleaning that you want to, and then when you finish cleaning, push that again, it stops moving, and we can then refit the door cover, ideally not one-handed. Well, you get the idea. And shut it, turn it off. Now, you might have heard a little bit of motor noise on this one. This one works perfectly, it has no pitch fluctuation whatsoever. It could be that the belt's getting a little old and slack now. It has a flat section capstan drive belt in there, and I found they're slightly smaller diameter than some other tape decks. I've got some belts that are around 78, 80mm diameter, and I suspect that these are around 60, something like that. So it could be that slightly slack belts contributing to noise, but I'm not so sure. Anyway, this one works perfectly, and there's a lot on the internet about these capstan motors being noisy and trying to find replacements, but as I say, this one is fine. Now I have another one here. Again, this was a second-hand one, and if I switch this on, you'll hear the difference between the two. Now this one, I would say, definitely needs a new motor, but this one is perfectly fine. So let's turn on this one again. You can hear this one. Okay. Now this one, and you'll hear the difference. Absolutely. So you can hear the racket that's making. I would suggest that definitely needs replacing. But this one still has a bit of life in it yet. But if you do have one of these decks, as I say, the capstan motor runs all the time when the power's on, so if it's not in use, I would suggest you just switch it off, which maybe the previous owners of these tape decks didn't do. So I hope that was useful to you. If you have one of these decks, or you found one second hand, you don't have the instructions, etc., and you're wondering what all these functions are for and how it works and how you can possibly clean the heads with the capstan running so you can clean the pinch roller, I hope that's been useful to you, and thanks very much for watching.